McClure live. I'm about ready to shut down the studio. We're set up tomorrow for the Topeka Factor here live in the studio. Got some of the new equipment going, up and going. Before I go to sleep, I want to thank. I'm really thankful for a lot of people today giving me some good input. Uh, it's fun. Interested is interesting. And when somebody takes interest in you and it's in a positive way or constructive criticism, the fun one was about I had this picture that one of my Facebook friends had taken. It was a beautiful picture with her laying flat facing the Capitol, but some people thought maybe it was too risque, and that's fine. I know that my lifetime, my outlook has always been fiscally conservative, and I thought socially moderate. And I think the older I get, the more conservative I get. But there's a certain point in time what I've really learned, and I'm really quite proud of myself, is when somebody brings something up, maybe it's just, let's just say, gossip or wanting to point out some shortcomings on somebody else. It just depends on who it is. But no, seriously, it's like, something, that's none of my business. And it's just so easy to stop that right then, right at that moment. Hey, that's none of my business. And but I do need my research department to dig into. I've got to look at how you can. I got into an argument with a friend of mine about designating benefit districts, and I think you can just put whatever you want inside a district. And they were saying that the state laws are, like how you define benefit districts or districting was rigid, and I don't think it is, because when I formed the TIF district for College Hill, we just decided what we wanted in it, and I'm pretty sure that's solid. But so the point I'm making very poorly here at this hour is that when the city passed the GO bonds for the specials to fix the lake, I think they could have designated the benefit district just being the ones that were paying taxes. I mean, what idiot would put specials, and that's another thing, we need to find out which the idiots were, who the idiots were, because it's just not responsible. That is not being fiscally conservative with taxpayer money. Why should we fix a dam that a guy broke and you put specials on properties that aren't paying taxes, and really the guy that owned them had no intention of paying the taxes? And the back taxes out there in Lawrence Bay for a decade, how did that go on so long? And, so we got to really find the fingerprints. Who's on all this stuff? We do. We really do. And because you've got to create benchmarks for the elected officials. You've got to start throwing the bums out. I like, so maybe I'm trying to be a clean diaper, but I don't, look, at this point in time, if I just sell a piece of real estate, that's not a conflict of interest. If I'm selling all my real estate and all my listings to the county, and the county's paying over or above, appraised value, well, there's something hinky. I like that word. hinky. But seriously, my friends, the Lawrence Bay, and I think really the Lawrence Bay issue is kind of fundamentally the problem of what's going on in our community. So let's also see when the dam was fixed, who the people were. I mean, I want to know who the county commissioners were, and I want to know who was on city council. And we've got some research to do, but I think this is important stuff that we need to look into. We really need to look into, and then I remember there was a water park put in up at, 21st and Urish. So is it, hey, look over here, because over here, let's look at the smoke and mirrors, the shell game of how those all came together. And more importantly, let's really dig into. I really want to start going back methodically and looking at what the economic development, how it impacted our community. And so originally it was to grow the population, and it was to increase the tax base. And the reason I want to bring this up, I heard from my good friend Bruce Berlinger today, and he's out in California, and this guy, he's got a lot of stuff going on. One of the more successful real estate developers I know in my life. He's ranking right up there with the big boys, like Mason Dana Kay. He right now owns 1/10,000th of all the water rights in California. And Bruce and I met in Boulder, Colorado in 1983 at the Crossroads Mall expansion, where Bruce was actually just helping a contractor friend, Ed Bertain. Ed bit off more than he could chew, got more contracts than he could fulfill on his own, and Bruce came in, and I think the story is that Ed might have helped him with a renovation he did in downtown Denver, but we haven't visited about that in a while. But then again, I ramble. But Bruce just was saying, I appreciate the way you're saying it, how you're going about it. People need to hear it straightforward. But you can't, and I get it that you've got to say something nice, but I'm not here to please everybody. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be angry, more angry, as the research unfolds. A friend of mine said, can they take you seriously on this running for office? Well, I'm serious enough to take on the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce and go Topeka, and Jim Klossman, if I need to call him out, Jimbo, you had a lot of lots out there you never paid taxes on. And what's fascinating to me is I've never thought of the McGivern family being pushover people. And the McGiverns were able to make a deal with Chuck Doltmeyer. And I think Chuck Doltmeyer is as conservative as they come. And if Chuck Doltmeyer can work out a deal with the McGivern family, well, there's a deal there to be made. But what I admire about people that make deals like the McGiverns and the Doltmeyers is they're not squeezing it so tight. They're not squeezing the life out of a deal. And I don't know how Neil Dobler could even live in that district, knowing that he really never. What did you really do, Neil, to fix that? Lawrence Bay. I mean, it's a terrible debacle. But it really comes down to the foundation of what's wrong with development in Topeka. And what happened was one day they decided to run Gene Yanni out of town. That's it. One day everybody got together. It was like the day they got Phelps disbarred. When Topeka decides it's going to turn on you, take cover. Look at the retribution. I'm living proof that Topeka will, they will retribute you. No, they will retaliate. Come on, that was a little funny. They will retaliate because that's why I've never received any help from Go Topeka's slush fund. Because we're going to get Henry McClure. And I can't wait. I can't wait in time. There'll be some lawyer that will come along, and probably I need to hire the guy at Go Topeka that's getting salary on the taxpayer, the equity diversity guy. I need that guy, Israel. I need Israel to look at all the cases, and I need Molly Howie to tell me how all, Project Santa Claus of her giving away all this money, how did that create jobs? Because every time, and Molly Howie was the best at creating jobs, her own job. All right, so we're not gonna give up on Lawrence Bay. We're gonna dig into it. We're gonna look at the geo bonds. We're gonna understand how the district could have been created to where you only put specials on. And I was getting information from a guy that, might been a little, time might have marched on too long. But no sensible person, no reasonable person would put more specials on property that weren't current on their taxes. That's just not fair. It's just like that whole nonsense of you've got to have every LLC current, or you don't get a project. You got to have it. You got to be current on all your taxes, and all the LLCs that you own have to be current. Because I can't walk into a bank. And borrow money under the name Henry McClure or under Project Santa Claus LLC. So they're going to loan Project Santa Claus LLC $1 million. Well, let's say Project Santa Claus never pays a nickel of that back. Well, I can't walk into the same bank and as Henry McClure borrow money because I'm really actually the operator. I mean, you understand the analogy. I hate crossing over because I am Project Grinch. Molly and Matt have Grinched Henry McClure out of Project Santa Claus. And that's Molly. She's Cindy Lou Who. All right. Enough with the analogies. I'm cracking myself up, but not you. You can't have an LLC that doesn't pay its way and then come in and say, well, look, I've created another LLC. And if the politicians really believe that, well, that's another reason they should be thrown out of office. If the hour is late, fortunately, we have good lighting at the studios here. You've got to take these layers of the onion off. And And that's why we need change in the community. Somebody has to stand up. So you can't get me. They've already retaliated against me. But what you have to know, you know what you really got to know is look at the ballot and know that we're $16.5 million short for the road projects. And basically, let's just take all the economic development. Because Go Topeka ain't doing economic development except for themselves. It's a self-serving group providing a slush fund so everybody feels good that they're doing something and nobody can be mad at Molly Howie and makes you want to join the chamber. And that's another thing we really need to look at is the amount of donations and who is donating to the visioning. Because I know one guy donated $150,000. He told me that. But the guy telling you what economic development is and what it's all about, it's probably better for the broke man like me. The guy without any projects going on. Well, you know, yes, I'm involved with Chick-fil-A and Bring Back the Boulevard or Whataburger. Let's, for the fact, I don't even know the Whataburger people, who they are or where they are. Hey, Blackie, if you watch this and it doesn't make any sense, I'll delete it in the morning. I'm weary. Man, it's 1:39. I should go to bed. Heading home. I need to get some like theme music. I need to get like a Alexa device in here. And, hey, I call mine Echo at home. Hey, Echo, play Get Along, Little Doggy.